And we are live.
Hey, thanks, Robbie. Hi, everybody. Sam Sadat here in my office, Santa Monica, beautiful Santa Monica, and we're going to discuss a couple of things that I believe are very significant in your path to success. First, I wanted to thank you, all of you folks out there that are watching it. I think you're going to find it very educational and inspirational. I don't know, I hope the internet connection is good and I'm not looking choppy or anything. I look okay when I look at myself, but it looks like I'm a little bit out of sync. So I hope it comes across, pretty well. I think, Robbie, that maybe technology is not exactly quite where we want it to be, huh?
I
Really?
think Google Hangouts, they keep trying to update things every week to make them easier, but I think it just ends up confusing people more.
I think so. I mean, every time I go in there now, it seems like the first time. I don't know what the heck is going on. I wish, people could do that with their wives and husbands. Every time they see them, it's like the first time. It's like Google Hangout. That would be kind of nice,
Yeah, just download an update for your wife,
or your husband. So anyways, what I wanted to talk about tonight, this is number 5, Google Hangout number 5. For Sam's Real Estate Club of Los Angeles. Robbie Diggs, my webmaster, doing a great job putting things together. We're revamping our website a little bit, making it more user-friendly, especially for the smartphones. So your registration becomes a lot easier while you're driving. Not that we recommend you do that, but we all know that we kind of do it here and there. At any rate, 2 things we want to talk about tonight. One, we want to talk about how creativity is not synonymous with doing anything illegal in real estate. These days, the word is being used so loosely that a lot of people think that when you say you're doing something creative with real estate, it's like you do something illegal, something that is at best unethical or something like that. But that's not exactly the connotation. At least it is not the connotation that we use when we talk about creative real estate. Okay, doing something creative is really about looking at things from a different point of view. I don't know, a lot of us can relate to the passing of great Robin Williams just a couple of days ago, and I don't know if you folks watched his awesome movie, Dead Poets Society. But in that movie, he's got a beautiful line, and he says that like something like, I stand upon my desk to remind myself that we must constantly look at things in a different way. And if you recall in the movie, he has all of his students stand up on their desks and look at the world from a different perspective. So even something as simple as that, standing on your desk and looking at the world is going to give you a completely different perspective. For example, if I have a stool and stand on it so I can become the height of Robbie Diggs, I can see the world from a different point of view. You know what I mean? So even if you just raise yourself up like a foot or 2 or whatever, suddenly things begin to look different. And that's nothing more than exactly that when we're talking about creative real estate. You want to structure a deal that is ethical, that is a win-win situation, but you want to use your creativity to the max. And I'll give you a few examples. Some of you know about the subject to purchase of a property. You purchase a property subject to the existing loan, okay? And many people, especially real estate agents, work in different offices. Number 1, they don't know what that is. And number 2, if they do, they think it's illegal. And when they check with their brokers, they probably tell them that's illegal too, so nobody does it. And as a result, a lot of their clients miss the opportunity to buy a property subject to the existing loan. As a matter of fact, it is legal. It's very legal. And in fact, if you look at your HUD-1 settlement statement, you're going to notice on the line 203, it specifically says that loans property taken subject to existing loans. In other words, you have a specific category for existing loans taken subject to on the HUD-1 closing statement, which is issued by the Housing and Urban Development, which is a legal real estate document. How can something illegal be a part of a government-sanctioned form such as HUD 1? So as a result, you see that it's not illegal. You can actually go buy a property if you don't have any money. You can buy a property, or you have limited amount of money. You can buy a property subject to an existing loan without breaking the law, without violating any rules of conduct, ethics, or law. Either way, you are essentially doing something that is creative, and a lot of people don't know about it. The fact that you're able to structure something like that, it doesn't mean that you've done something bad. It means that you are creative, that you did something that is outside of the box. I'll give you a vivid example of it. Tonight, one of my students called. Maybe he's online with us. He says he's found a property in LA. It has an existing loan at a favorable interest rate to the tune of $180,000, and he wants to buy the property for around, we figured, maybe $220,000. So instead of getting a loan, paying a lot of points, and putting himself through hell, whether it's hard money or otherwise, all he's got to come up with is about $30,000 or $40,000 and take the loan subject and to buy the property subject to that existing loan, and he's got himself a fantastic situation. And all he's got to do is spend about $35,000 and sell the property at $335,000 and walk away with about $50,000, $60,000 profit in his pocket. The only caveat is that when you do a subject to transaction, that you disclose that information to the seller, that you've taken the property subject to the existing loan, that you're buying the property, but you will make the payments on time, and that you will pay it off within a certain period of time, let's say a couple of years, and that the loan will stay on his credit report until it's paid off. For many of them, the credit is so bad it don't make any difference anyways. And in fact, you're going to be helping them because you're going to be making their payments for them. And when you make the on-time payments, then you will raise their credit score. So you actually are helping these people. So you see an example of one that people think it's illegal, it's too creative, so to speak, but in fact it's very legal. But you're doing something completely outside of the box and you're being creative about it. Okay? The other thing is assigning the contract. How about assignment of a contract? Oh, it's not good. You know, why are you doing that? You cannot assign the contract to somebody else. A lot of real estate offices, a lot of traditional, old-fashioned, and not savvy or creative enough real estate people, they think it's maybe not illegal, but it's unethical. You shouldn't do that. There's nothing wrong with that. All you got to do is get your contract, make sure it says and or assignee and or nominee, and a lot of them do that. I just bought a property from a wholesaler that had that clause, assignability clause. Okay, his name and or assigned. He assigned it to me. I gave him a little bit of wholesale fee, and I bought the property. It's as easy as that. There's nothing illegal about it. Yes, you're going to make a profit, but you're not taking anything away from that seller. That seller has motivation. He wants to sell his property, his or her property, and they also want to make sure that they're happy and satisfied with that. You are the investor in a system that allows you to purchase that property, use your mind and your creativity to put an assignable clause in that contract, go out there, find someone who you can assign the contract to, sell the property to them, and walk away with some wholesale fee in your pocket without risking any money or without putting a dime into the property. What's illegal about that? Everybody's winning in here, and the motivation of the seller for wanting to sell the property fast will happen because it's an all-cash purchase in most cases. So as you can see, again, you're being creative, but you're not doing anything illegal and you're not doing anything unethical. So I hope I've clarified the difference between creativity and things that people do that are outright illegal. You want to know an example of an illegal? I'll give you one. You know there are things wrong with the property, but you're not disclosing them. You know that the property has a structural issue, but you're not saying anything about it. You know that the property has a major plumbing or electrical issue that is perhaps even a safety issue. You're not disclosing it. All of these things are illegal. You're not being creative when you omit something that you know you should disclose. That's been unethical, that's been illegal. Okay? But fully disclosing everything to everybody, at the same time taking advantage of the system and knowing what the laws are and protecting yourself, but at the same time doing the right thing, that's the way you make money in real estate. And a lot of people make money that way without risking any of their own funds and without risking their credit and making a decent money. You want to know how to do that? Well, hang out the club a little bit more often. Like this month, we have a great club meeting, for August 23rd. I'm sorry, August 27th, Wednesday. Come and learn. I'm going to be talking about how you can buy a property with no money down. We're also going to talk about how you can form successful partnerships with distressed property owners, Arturo. So this is what I bring. This is what we bring: education, great networking. And when you put that together, great knowledge, great networking, you're going to produce results. That's basically it as far as real estate is concerned, So anyways, I hope you guys learned one or two good ideas from what I just discussed. And Robbie, do we have any questions from our audience? Do you have any questions before I go into the second part of the Hangout?
Nobody's typed anything yet, and for those who are viewing, feel free to type a question in there in the comments, or you can also you can click the Q&A link in the top right if you'd like to ask a question, or you can join in the call.
Awesome. Thanks, Robbie. Okay, so the second part of the, you can always ask the questions. I'll answer them at the end. Not a problem. The second part of the Google Hangout, a lot of people ask me, what are the benefits to buying real estate? Okay, frankly, I don't know a lot of benefits to investing in other stuff like precious metals or mutual funds or stocks. I don't know much about them. I do know about real estate. Okay, I've lost some, I've won some, but the majority of the time we know what we're doing. So hopefully we end up making money, and we're doing that, and we're helping others to accomplish the same thing. But as far as the benefits of real estate, there are 5 distinct benefits to investing in real estate. Okay, number 1 is income. Okay, it produces income for you. You have a rental property, you rent the property, you produce an income. If you buy it right, then that income should be sufficient to take care of your mortgage payments, take care of your insurance, and take care of your taxes, and also put a little bit of money into your pocket. All right, that would be an income that you can essentially generate from any piece of property. Number 1. Number 2 is deduction. Okay, you get tax deductions when you own investment properties. Income producing properties give you certain amount of tax deductibility. Okay, your interest payments, for example, HOA fees, property taxes, maintenance fees, a lot of other things, including depreciation, which I'm sure your CPA or accountant will advise you on, and you need to talk with them. I don't know your specific scenario, but for just about anybody out there with any kind of an income bracket, with any kind of a specific tax scenario, they have the ability to write off and deduct a whole bunch of expenses relative to that property and be able to save money in the form of paying less taxes at the end of the year. Okay, so income, deduction. Number 3, equity. What is that? Well, you build up equity over a period of time. I keep telling people, if you buy real estate, don't be thinking about that you're going to buy it now and sell it within a year or tomorrow and make a lot of money. You may, but you may not. It depends. The market may change. Real estate is not a commodity like an automobile that you can buy from one auction and sell at the other auction or to the public and make money tomorrow. It's designed for a long-term investment purposes. And as such, you have to be prepared to hang on to it for a longer period of time. And when you do, and you got a good loan, then you begin to pay off that principal balance, the amount of the loan that you have borrowed. Your loan is gradually getting paid off, and as a result, you're building more and more equity. In reality, if you buy a property for $500,000 and make payments, 15 years of payments, and you are essentially have paid all the interest on that property, and the rest and the remainder of the period, for the most part, it's going to be all principal reduction. But in the 15 years that you have been making interest payments mostly, your property has gone up in value. The way I have figured it in Southern California, The property values go up, double actually, every 10 years. You may go through a lot of fluctuations. You may go through a lot of ups and downs. Okay, we may hit, hit the bottom, go to the top, and crash again. But over a 10-year period, properties usually double in good locations in Southern California. Okay, Los Angeles, good parts of Los Angeles, Southern California, San Diego, most parts, they essentially double. So you can't go wrong with buying property here in Southern California and have the ability and the intention to hold for at least 10 years. You're basically home free. So you build up equity because your property appreciates, and you also build up equity because you're reducing your loan to the bank. Okay, so two ways to increase your equity. And of course, all of you know what equity is. It's a portion of the property that belongs to you. That's your money. The rest of it belongs to the bank, whatever it's owed to the bank in the form of a mortgage. Okay, so that part that is yours after you pay off the mortgage is equity in the property, and that will increase over a period, over a period of time. Okay, number 3. Number 4, we talk about it a little bit, appreciation, which again, over a period of time, when you appreciate, you raise equity. Okay, so equity is essentially raised by, number 1, paying off the loan, and 2, appreciation. The appreciation I already covered in just, what I just told you. In the span of 10 years, property values double, appreciated. And when we talk about real estate value going up, real estate appreciating, what appreciates? Is it the structure that appreciates? Are the trees appreciating on the property? Is it your mineral or oil rights that are appreciating? What exactly is appreciating? What's appreciating is the land. That's all. The reason California, Southern California is so expensive is not because we have very fancy structures and mansions on each piece of property, piece of land, is because land underneath the structure has a lot of value. And that value comes from its scarcity. It's not abundant. Because of a scarcity, one major factor, supply and demand, then value of the land appreciates. So when your property appreciates, when you say your real estate appreciates, is because the value of the land appreciates. And that's important for you to know, because when you buy in better locations, the appreciation is a lot better. You have better appreciation, you have a safer scenario. You buy in more inferior locations, you pay less money, but you have a higher risk. And your appreciation is not going to be as much. Okay? And finally, leverage. So what's leverage? Leverage is essentially your ability to control an expensive piece of property with very little risk or money out of your pocket. When you buy a property, let's say for $500,000, and you only put down 10%, which is $50,000, and you get a loan of $450,000, your LTV or loan to value ratio is 90%, your equity is 10%, and your 10% equity is moving, okay, like a lever, okay, is a leverage. You're moving a huge piece of property that is worth $500,000. That's leverage. Is leverage good? Yeah, it can be good when the market is appreciating and when you don't have a whole bunch of money to work with. But leverage or over-leveraging the property can be dangerous. You know how? Look at the 2008 and the crash of the market. People over-leveraged their properties. They misunderstood the concept of leverage with over-leverage. Even the banks misunderstood the concept. How? They give people with bad credit a loan of 100%, 110%, 115%. So when that happens, is over-leveraging, which can backfire when the property values, begin to crash, just like it did. But in reality, if you just do a proper leverage, put down 5%, 10%, 20%, some skin in the game, and that little leverage, not only does it give you a control over that investment, which is awesome, and you cannot do that with other commodities. If you want to buy gold, you want to buy silver, if you want to buy a car, you're just going to essentially put a chunk of money down. Okay? I'm not talking about leasing, but in most cases, you have to put the entire investment down. In real estate, you don't have to. But if you use leverage to your advantage, meaning you just don't go beyond your means, trying to stretch yourself so far and so much that you snap. But if you just keep that leverage within a reasonable, amount, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Use a 95% leverage, use a 90, 85%, whatever you can afford. So finally, our lending guidelines are going back to the good old days where people can actually afford what they're buying. And that's a good thing. But I'm not just saying to be comfortable also. You got to also stretch yourself just a little. If you can afford $500,000, maybe you can stretch yourself by 50 or 100. But don't go buy a property for $1 million and thinking that, okay, I'm stretching myself. No, you'll snap because it's way beyond your means. So with that, I'm going to basically summarize the 5 benefits of real estate. Number 1, income. Produces income. It gives you a lot of deduction, okay, for various things on your tax returns. It builds up your equity because you're reducing your loan to the bank and you have a equity built up in the property. It appreciates, especially in good locations. Value will go up over a period of time. And you also buy real estate with leverage. And that's something that's very important and very unique to real estate. So, benefits of buying real estate. You tell me any other vehicle that can give you all these benefits. I don't believe it exists. So real estate is a great vehicle as long as you do it right, as long as you know what you're doing, as long as you make the proper analysis when you buy the property. Most people make a mistake in investing by overpaying for the property. They forget that your profit is made at purchase, not at sale. If you make a good buy, okay, you buy the property at a good price, that's when your profit is made. And most people make a mistake of misanalyzing or miscalculating the ARV, or after repair value of the property. If you miscalculate that, you're going to end up losing money because you think you should pay more than what the property is worth at that time. And at the end, if you're waiting to, for speculation or some magic to happen in the market to make you money, yeah, it might happen, but in most cases it won't. So don't speculate. Invest, yeah, don't speculate. Because if you speculate, you're counting on some external factor to help you raise the value of the property so you can make a profit. Like I said, it could happen, but in most cases it probably won't. And most people make a mistake of not knowing how to calculate the proper after repair value. How do you do that? Well, talk to some of the students that we have. The VIP classes we've got are awesome because it will teach you how to analyze a deal from a perspective of how much will it be worth when I'm done repairing it. Therefore, how much should I pay for it so I make some profit? Basic, it's simple as that. But it's in a form of a beautiful template. It's an awesome analyzer, an algorithm that we put together here to help you make quick decisions on whether or not a property is a viable deal for you, profitable for you, and if not, what would make it profitable? So you will make that offer. And that way you can move with speed, effectiveness, efficiency, quickness, and make a decision fast. That's how you make money in this market, because things move fast, just like the way I talk, okay? So,
we do have a few questions that came in if you want to
go ahead.
Answer some of those. First one, can you wholesale multi-units? And if so, how do you find them?
Can you sell multi-units? And if
wholesale.
So,
can you wholesale multi-units?
Wholesale. Oh, yeah. Oh, got it. Thank you. Yes, of course you can wholesale multi-units. Well, it depends on, are we talking about multi-units 1 to 4 units or 5 units and more? If you're talking 1 to 4, we're talking residential. The moment you're 5 units and up, although it's for a residential purpose, but it is considered commercial in real estate. It's a commercial concept, commercial financing. So yes, you can actually wholesale them just the same way. It's a matter of how your contract is written. In fact, if you become specialized in wholesaling 5 units or more, the regulations are a hell of a lot less stringent. And you can actually get away with a lot more creativity, so to speak, than anything else. So that's awesome. Of course you can do that. How you find them is by hard work, by farming an area, by being very specific and focusing, laser focus in 1 or 2 zip codes. Go out there and work it like crazy. If it were easy, everybody was doing it. It's not. You got to put time into it. You got to put effort into it. You got to create a network. But more importantly, know why you want to succeed. If you know why you want to succeed and you pick the vehicle of real estate as your preferred method of getting rich, then there are many ways that you can find these properties. Distressed properties, FISBOs for sale by owners, check the Craigslist, drive around the neighborhoods, but more importantly, pick a neighborhood. Don't be all over the place, because the more broad you are, the less chances of you finding anything. It's a big city. You focus, you'll find it. No doubt about it. Go ahead, Robbie.
Okay, when a person inherits a property free and clear and wants to avoid paying capital gain tax on SFR, how can he structure it so it's a win-win situation?
If somebody inherits a property, okay, if they actually get it, if they have that, I just had a client not too long ago. They actually inherited the property right here in Van Nuys, and they financed the property. They pulled money out. The best way not to pay any taxes, or we shouldn't say that, to defer your taxes, because Uncle Sam is going to get you sooner or later. But first of all, you got to talk to your accountant. I don't know your specifics, but the best way to to have non-taxable income in real estate is to borrow against your real estate, because borrowed money is not taxable. If you borrow against that piece of property, that's all money that you borrowed. I don't think you have to pay taxes on it, and use that for additional investments. That's the best way. Or maybe there are other ways that your CPA can advise you on. But as far as structuring a property that you have inherited, there's there's just too many moving parts that I don't want to get into, because I don't know the specifics. But borrowing against it is probably the best way.
And the same user actually put in a follow-up question that said, okay, same situation, but if it is it's got a several $1 million value SFR.
How much value?
Several million, they say.
The amount doesn't matter. First of all, okay, there might be encumbrances or liens or loans on that property. Of course, they have to be paid off, no doubt, or at least when you inherit the property, you're going to keep up with those payments. But to the concept of borrowing against real estate and not paying taxes will remain the same regardless of the value of the property. It's 300, $500,000, or 7 million. It doesn't make any difference. It's still the same.
Okay. And the last one that I say here was a comment that came in. Might be a little off topic, but they ask, what do you think about crowdfunding real estate?
I've actually been involved in a couple of the crowdfunding things, and they're generally speaking, I think it's a way that for investors, smaller investors, to be able to invest in real estate without having to be accredited. Generally, accredited investors are only the ones that could participate in most of these PPMs, private placement, properties. These sort of syndications, so to speak, and we did a lot of them. We've done a lot of them. They all required the participant or equity partner to be an accredited investor. Of course, nobody really checks or verifies whether or not you're accredited, and I think it's a $250,000 a year or $1 million in net worth, one or the other, that will make you accredited. But the crowdfunding was created, I think, fairly recently, to allow the smaller investors with smaller sums of money to invest in real estate. Yeah, some of the stuff that we do actually allow you to come in, and participate in these, and that actually I like it. I think it's a great concept. You allow somebody else to manage a property, somebody that you trust, you invest in it, and I have a feeling that you're probably going to get a better return on your investment the way real estate is right now, participating in these types of things as opposed to mutual funds or stocks, bonds, or so many other things that are quite volatile and don't pay as much. But whatever you do, don't keep your money in the bank, because you don't want to get 0.5%. That's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah, it's amazing the way those crowdfunding strategies have come along in any area of business. The Kickstarter campaigns that people are using for independent movies or app development projects. Pretty cool.
That's right. They're available all. I think it's a good thing, because they wanted to give the smaller investor the ability to participate. I'm not claiming that I'm an expert in it. I know it. We've heard of it. We've been involved in a couple of things. But it's not something that we do on a regular basis. Most of our investors that come into the syndication projects, they're all accredited, or at least they say that they're accredited. Like I said, you can say it and nobody is going to verify it. It's your statement, it's your assertion, and your affirmation that you are. If you feel that you are and you want to invest, you can. But maybe they'll change that law in the future again. But at this particular time, I would say that it's worth checking into and knowing more about and taking advantage of anything that's good and viable out there.
Cool. Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, that's it. That's all the questions we've got.
Okay, Robbie. Anything else you want to say before we go?
No, I think we just hit the 30-minute mark. So,
perfect.
Thanks everybody for joining.
Okay. All right. Thanks, buddy. Thanks everybody for joining. And you're going to post it up there. I'm sure that people are going to take a look. And if there are any questions, always feel free to call us, email us. You have our contact information. We'd be happy to help anytime.
All right. Sam, you hang on the line. I'm just going to end the broadcast.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.